If I had to close a deal in 30 days or less, or I don't eat, here's exactly what I'd do. I've been in business for 23 years and I still run into agents every single week who are one missed closing away from not making their mortgage payment. They're desperate, they're scrambling, and they've got no plan on what to do. I actually get messages from agents online through my Instagram account asking me this very question. Mike, I have to have a closing in the next 30 days. What do I do? Well, this video is for you. There's a lot that you can do to never put yourself into that position, but we'll talk about that in another video. That's a whole nother conversation. But if you're here right now, you need to check fast, this video is going to definitely be for you. I'm going to walk you through exactly what I would do. And maybe most importantly, I'm going to tell you what I would not do so you don't make those mistakes at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. That part's going to be even more important. So let's dive right in. The first thing, I would find what I call the hand raisers in my database. Hand raisers are people that are taking certain actions and behaviors on my website or with my emails, indicating that they might be getting into making a buying decision. Maybe they've been back to my website the last 30 days. Maybe they haven't been called in the last 2 months or 2 weeks or more. I'd call them all 2 to 3 times and I'd text them as well. These are people whose behavior indicates they could be making a buying decision. You got to remember that people go through 2 distinct phases when they're buying and selling a house. They go through what I call the information collection phase, which is where they're just collecting info on what the market is doing, what the process looks like. They're trying to analyze whether it makes sense to buy or sell. And then they actually get to a decision-making phase. And sometimes it can take them 2 days to get through these phases. Sometimes it can take them 2 years to get through these phases. And you have no idea. So you have to be paying attention to what's going on in your CRM and your websites to really know what is the behavior these people are doing. That tells me when they're going to make this transition from one phase to the next. But if maybe they've opened emails from me, maybe they've opened a home value email, maybe they checked the current value of their house, those are people you're going to want to call as well. So first one, find the hand raisers. These are people that are telling you they're ready to do something, and reach out to these people aggressively. And aggressively is not one phone call. It's not one text. It's 2 or 3 phone calls at different times of the day. I love Saturdays for calling, by the way, because a lot of people are not distracted at work. Try Saturday morning at like 10:30 in the morning. You're going to find a lot of success and more pickup rate there. And always text after you call. Don't just call and leave a voicemail, but text them as well. You got to hit them up on both channels. Next up is I would hold 3 open houses per week. And I would do what we call mega open houses. And I like open houses because they're bottom of funnel leads that are out touring houses. When I say bottom of funnel, I mean that they're not like just online browsing houses and collecting information. They're out actively boots on the ground looking at houses right now. This tells me that they're much closer to transacting than somebody that's at the top of the funnel, okay? So to make it a mega open house, I'm talking about 15 to 20 signs. I'm talking about food, drink, make it a party. I've even brought food trucks in for open houses before. It's a lot of fun. You want to invite the neighbors for sure. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. And you want to use an iPad app to get the visitors to register. Agents are like nervous to do this, to tell people to register, but just simply tell them the seller requires it and they're going to do it. I like the Open Home Pro app. If you've got Ylopo, they have a free open house tool that's fantastic as well. Open Home Pro gives you the first 25 registered leads free, so it's not going to cost you any money, which I'm assuming is good for you if you're in this position. But you're going to want to follow up with everyone that toured the home within 24 hours. You want to just get their feedback on what do they think of the house, where are they at in the process of buying a home, what exactly are they looking for, all of those types of things. You want to set a search up for them as well on your website that matches criteria that's close to the home that they visited. So that could be the neighborhood, the city, the price range, maybe distinctive features like 1-level home or 2-level home, but pick new listings as well, or listings that just had a price reduction for your open house. So don't just go to an open house, like don't host an open house on a home that's been sitting there for 3 or 4 weeks or 3 or 4 months and hasn't had any price reduction. Do it only on new listings, fresh to market this week, or listings that just had a decent price reduction. That's going to have a huge impact on how many people show up to the open house. You also want to pick listings that are easy to get to from major arterial roads. If the listing is buried 20 minutes off the main road, that's not going to be good for your open house traffic. I like Friday night for open houses, like you could do 3 to 6 p.m. And then I like Saturday, Sunday days. Try to avoid football times. Like if you've got a football area, like we're in Seattle, area, when there's a Seahawks game going on, nobody goes to open houses. They just start watching the game. So definitely watch out for that. Schedule open houses around those. If you don't have a listing to host an open house, call the agents that have listings in the areas you like and see if you could hold these houses open for them. I get calls like this all the time, and it allows other agents to host the open house for me. I actually haven't hosted an open house in like 7 years. I have other agents host them, but my sellers like it. And then these agents like it because they get the chance to get the buyer leads off. You should also be role playing, talking to open house leads. A lot of agents are extremely awkward in person at open houses. They don't know what to say or how to say it, but just be conversational, learn to ask really good questions, learn to be naturally curious, and ask them how long they've been looking for a home, ask them what they've been doing to prepare themselves to buy a house, and ask them if they've been going to lots of open homes or private tours. This is going to tell me if they have an agent or not, which is really helpful to know without having to ask them that question. If they don't have an agent, go deeper with them. And then you need to learn how to pitch the buyer consultation. I go really deep on this in our 58 module buyer and listing masterclass. There's a link down below if you want to buy that. It's awesome. We developed that through 1,600 home sales and proven it over time. But here's kind of the basic language pattern you want to learn on how to pitch the buyer consultation. I'm going to walk you through the home buying process from start to finish. I'm going to help you identify exactly what you're looking for in your next home. I'm going to get you up to speed on the market. Learn to master that framework. Don't just call it a buyer consultation. Get very clear and articulate and explain to this person what you're going to do for them in this consultation, what the point of it is, okay? And don't call it a buyer consultation either. Just, call it like a strategy session or something like that. So set the appointment right then and there at the open house. Do not wait to try to track this person down later. This is where like busy and too busy of open houses gets kind of become a gray area. Yes, you want traffic through your open house, but if you have 30 groups through your open house, you're not going to have time to have quality conversations with the people that come through and ultimately set an appointment. If you get like 4 to 8 groups through over a 3-hour span, that actually gives you the opportunity to have really good conversations with each one of those groups. And that's a huge win of an open house. That could convert a lot better than an open house that had 30 groups through where you didn't have a chance to talk to anyone in depth or build rapport and actually learn what they're doing and where they're at in the process and set that appointment. The next thing up is talk to your neighbors about your open house. This is where you're going to find listings. So on each one of your open houses, I want you to go around and I want you to talk to the neighbors. Most of the time when one person sells, there's another neighbor within 2 blocks that's thinking about selling as well. You have to find that person. The way you're going to find them is by door knocking and inviting them to your open house. This gets you face to face and shows these potential sellers that you're going far above and beyond to get the open house sold. Invite them to the open house and use this very easy script. A lot of neighbors are curious about what their friend's home looks like and the updates they've made. So I want to invite you over to the open house I'm hosting on Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. to come check it out. By the way, have you had any thoughts about selling your home as well? Practice that script. So I'm going to just say that script one more time for you to make sure you've got it. A lot of neighbors are curious about what their friend's home looks like and the updates they've made. So I want to invite you over to the open house I'm hosting on Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. to come check it out. By the way, have you had any thoughts of selling yourself as all? Just say that to these people and give them like a little flyer, invite them to the open house, and then build more rapport with them at the open house. What I would not do, I talked about what I would do. Here's what I would not do. This is just as important so you're not wasting your time or blowing money that you really can't afford to spend. I see agents sometimes racking up massive credit card debt when they're in this position just trying to desperately get a sale, and they're basically just throwing everything at the wall hoping something sticks and that one of these things will work. And that's really, really bad way to go about things. It's not tactical. It's not strategic at all. The first thing is Facebook ads. And the reason I don't like Facebook ads is because they're great for long-term leads, but they take 12 to 18 months to convert on average. And you don't have that kind of time if you're in this financial position. So I'm not saying don't ever do Facebook ads and generate Facebook leads. We've generated probably 20,000 of them on our team, and they do convert really well long-term, but you need to have the right nurture systems in place. You need to have the right infrastructure within your team and your website and everything else. You have ways to stay in touch with these people, but they're just not going to convert that fast. And if you're in this position, you need quick closings. That leads me to number 2 is Google ads, pay-per-click for short, where someone goes to Google and they type in homes for sale in Seattle. Again, this is great for long-term. In fact, it's the best return on investment long-term that I've had for any lead source. But you don't have this kind of time if you need a closing in the next 30 days. They're going to, again, take between 3 months and 15 months on average to convert. We generally convert 1% in the first 90 days, but we have the systems and the skill set to convert those that a lot of agents do not have. Number 3, Zillow. Zillow is too expensive and it could take 60 to 90 days to get going. It's not uncommon for me to talk to agents and they're getting like 7 leads a month off Zillow and they're spending $10,000 a month. And yes, you can cost share that with a lender, but that is a really, really expensive cost per lead or cost per acquisition for leads. And a lot of those leads are still going to be a long ways out from buying a house. Some Zillow leads will buy a home right away, which is really cool, but it is a relatively small percentage. They tend to be bottom of funnel leads like open house leads are as well, but they're not typically very loyal and you're going to feel like a door opener, but most importantly, they're just really, really expensive. Okay. You're not going to be able to afford that if you're in this position. And again, I don't want you going into credit card debt to generate leads. That leads me to the last one is circle dialing. A lot of agents go to this if they're desperate for a closing, but I don't want you wasting time talking to people that have no relevancy to what you're doing. This isn't targeted enough. So you can't just like cold call strangers that have done nothing and see if they're thinking about buying or selling a house. That is a huge waste of your time. I've seen a lot of teams and agents that do this. It's just not a practical way to generate a closing. There you have it, a proven playbook you can run if you're in a cash crunch, living from one commission check to the other, and you need that quick win. If you're a real estate agent and you want help with your systems and processes, you can grab our 58 module buyer and listing agent masterclass. It's really in depth. There's a ton of information there that we've put together after closing 1,600 homes over the last 8 years. All those lessons, all those things we've learned over that period of time are in our masterclass. I wrote this from the trenches of real estate and built it through over 1,600 transactions. This will flat out turn you into the top producer in your market if you're an implementer. Also, we're partnered with agents across the country at REAL Brokerage. And if you're interested in being mentored by Rachel, my wife, or myself, this is an awesome opportunity to get proximity to us and also be at a world-class brokerage at the same time. We've been there since 2021 when we just had 2,000 agents. We now have 30,000 agents. It's an awesome brokerage. There's links below for each of those. Of course, like, share, subscribe to this video. I release a new video every single week so you don't miss the next one.